Okay, all right. Lakshmi, thanks so much for joining in and filling us in with those details. Well, details a little bit sketchy on what's going on in the money market, but I'll tell you what, let's get an insight into D Street chatter. Nimesh joins in to, tell us what he's picking up out there. Nimesh, the street is still a little bit dizzy about what's going on in the rupee, but I think we want to know what's going on in the stock market and dealing room, and your best place. Tell us.
Nigel, actually, today for a change, even the equity dealers are asking us to what's happening in the rupee. That's actually led to a bit of a fall in the second half. The first half was good. There was a bit of momentum. We had a big gap up as well. And there was a bit of buying interest as well. That was the overall feedback in terms of flow. So what surprised the street is a move in the second half in the rupee, and that's actually a bit of profit booking in the overall markets as well. Again, the overall feedback is there is a bit of buying from the larger FIs. In fact, there's going to be a basket buying at a leading FI desk in some select stocks. So that's also going to play out in the individual names. That was the overall feedback since morning. I guess from a trend point of view, while technically we are pretty much at the upper end, which I've been saying for the last few days. So 17,500, 17,600 seems to be a bit of a resistance. But purely, from here on, I guess the big cues will be the earnings. That's where you're seeing individual reactions. We saw what happened to Syngene today. There are big earnings lined up. ITC tomorrow. On Friday, we have Reliance. Saturday, we have ICICI Bank. So individual stock performances will be very important. But overall, while rupee move, nobody is able to explain that move. But overall, from an equity point of view, the feedback is there is a bit of leadership back, the likes of Reliance, the likes of ITC. So it looks like the downside seems to be a little protected. But at the upper end, there is a bit of resistance. So that level has to be taken out for the big up move. So earnings will be very important, at least in the near term, for us and the equity markets to outperform the global market.
All right, so those big earnings, Reliance, ITC, ICICI Bank, they could hold the headline index up. Right. But Nimesh, you normally tell us what's going on in the broader markets. What are you picking up with regard to stocks?
So, okay, in terms of individual stocks, Nigel, the first stock is Zomato. For the last couple of days, there is a consistent feedback that there is a bit of buying back from larger FIs into Zomato. But the stock has been under pressure, and one of the reasons is there is a strong buzz and indication that a large block is going to come in Zomato very soon. A very large investor who owns more than 10% stake might be selling a large chunk. So that's the reason why that stock is under pressure even in today's state. So that's the first one. The second stock is PNB Housing. In a weak market, that stock is buzzing into it up 6%. Again, there is a very strong buzz that very soon a leading industry veteran is going to join PNB Housing, and hence a bit of excitement in that stock today. So that's the second one. The third stock is Apollo Tyres. Sonia pointed out in the morning there was a JP Morgan upgrade. They've initiated a coverage with an overweight rating. But broadly, apart from the JP Morgan note, there is a bit of buying back in Apollo Tyres, and generally there is a bit of FI interest back in this particular stock, purely on what even JP Morgan was alluding to, that they are looking at balance sheet strength and look at margins as well. So there is a bit of uptake in Apollo Tyres today. And the last stock is MCX. Again, there is a bit of buying backs. I understand some of the domestic mutual funds are trying to chase the stock. It's a little illiquid, so to speak, but I understand some of the domestic mutual funds are really looking for blocks, and hence you're seeing a bit of a move in that stock as well today.
Okay, all right, Nimesh, thanks so much for joining in and giving us an entire market setup as well as few of those stocks that we should be focusing on. Well, Nimesh Shah joins us as well to run us through